So what I did was I put a wall up and said, no more, no more. And you know what? When I made that decision, since then, I've done well. Not the wealthiest person in the world, not even close. But I'm wealthy enough by my standards to do what I want to do when I want to do it. I'm going to start off with this, man. I sure wish that you guys would take some of this wisdom I'm giving you more seriously. I really do. I want and wish for you to take this wisdom that I'm giving you, and I want you to take it seriously. Here's why. I'm going to tell you why. I'm going to tell you when. I'm going to tell you what. I've been telling you what all month. What is this? It's 26 days of fire about money and your mindset. Why is this important? Because they don't teach this in schools. When do you need to learn it? You need to learn this stuff right now. The words that I'm giving you are worthy of note, and you can use this information and pass it down for generations to come. Why am I wishing that you guys would take this more serious? Okay, so let's watch and see what happens if you take what I'm giving you for granted. Let's watch. Let's see if what I'm saying is worthy of you taking advantage of it. When? Now. Most Americans, they say about 67% of all Americans don't even have a miniature emergency, which is $3,000 saved up. We talked about that on another letter. Go back and check the other letters if you don't believe me. Most Americans don't have a miniature, about 67+% don't have a miniature emergency saved up of $3,000. Another 58% of all Americans will retire and have to come out of retirement to get what's called a retirement job. We see this every day. We watch this happen with our own eyes. You see a gentleman working at the post office, for example, part-time, but he has a pension that he got because he used to work at GM for 40 years. So he's getting his pension, he's getting Social Security, but he's telling you about it on his part-time job. That means that the pension and social insecurity put together was not enough to maintain his current lifestyle. Because here's the newsflash. Jobs don't pay you more when you leave. You ever thought about that? Why do they call retirement the golden years, as if when you stop working, things are going to get better, when in fact, when you were going in every day, things weren't any good. So if things aren't any good when you're going to work every day, why do we wonder why things aren't getting better? I'm just curious. So if I'm struggling, going paycheck to paycheck while I'm working, you think when I retire, it's the golden years? Watch out. Watch out for people that's giving you those terms, like something like a nest egg or something that's going to be waiting on you. The federal government, family, and friends are what most people in this country rely on when they retire. And these days, whenever that may be. So if you work in a job and you retire, and you were working and you were struggling, what makes you think they pay you more when you stop? I wonder why we keep buying into that. So you wonder why I'm so passionate about the ABCs of money. And you wondering why I'm giving everybody a heads up about what the pandemic is doing for people when it comes to inflation, and what taxes are doing when it comes to paying back trillions of dollars in stimulus, and what debt is going to do to people because they're borrowing all this money during the pandemic because a lot of people lost their jobs due to unemployment. When people are out of work and taxes and inflation and debt continue to go up, that leads to chaos. And y'all wonder why I'm so passionate about going 26 days straight. You wonder why I want you to accept this challenge. You don't have to use all the words, but take 2 or 3 words and just give your following some wisdom. When? Now. If nothing else, if you don't decide to turn on your camera and talk, are you at least willing to watch it for 26 days? Is it worth it to learn something that they didn't teach you in schools, that you can just grab a journal, get 26 pages, go from A to Z, and just write down some key phrases and maybe some nuggets I'm giving you when it comes to this wealth game? So America's the wealthiest country in the world. Worldwide, we are number 1 across the world, across the globe. Then how is it that so many Americans are struggling if we're the number 1 country in the world when it comes to wealth? America had a 400-year head start. That's another subject. I'm not going to get into that. Don't worry about why. Just know they had a 400-year head start with free labor. We're the wealthiest country in the world. Nobody is even close. So why are so many Americans struggling financially? It's because they don't have this wisdom. For those who don't know, I own a training company called Mentor to Millions. I've never met before, and my number one, one of my number one trainings is called the Instinct series. So the Instinct series is where we take a series of animals, and I teach you how to use that animal instinct and how they survive in their habitat, and how you need to use that same instinct and use it in your habitat. So, for example, a cheetah has a long tail because it has to change direction quickly. A rhinoceros has to pick the birds off of his back because, loves to keep the birds on his back because the birds pick off parasites. What parasites are leeching from you, and who are your birds that you need to surround yourself with? What tail do you need to grow in order to change direction like a cheetah? I have 1 million animals. And the owl in my series is synonymous with wisdom. So if you don't hang around people who are a lot wiser than you, who've made mistakes that you've made, who make more money than you, who are headed on the path of wealth and growth, if you don't hang around people who are a lot wiser, how will you ever get the game if the establishment has already told you that they're not willing to teach it? So y'all need to welcome information like this with open arms. If I was y'all, I'd be like, look, let me share this video. Let me share this information. It's definitely worth it. Because when you weigh the pros and cons of being wealthy versus being broke, I have been both. And I can tell you, wealthy is a lot more fun. So you guys have to remember, man, your wealth is measured in time. It's not really measured in dollars. So as long as you can go where you want to go, when you want to go, you're actually wealthy. If I can hop on a plane right now and go anywhere in the world, which I can, I don't have to be the wealthiest person on the planet. I'm wealthy by my standards. Wealth is doing what you want to do when you want to do it. You can go where you want to go, when you want to go, and how you want to go. If those things are happening for you, you winning. Stop comparing yourself to somebody else because they may make more. Stop looking at all these people online because they show you their best day. Everybody likes to make it seem like they made $1 million overnight. Some people have, some people can, some people will. But what you want to do is make sure you stay true to yourself and say, whoa, wait a minute. I may not be where I want to be, but I'm a lot better off than where I was. And I've been waiting on a training like this just to show me that I'm headed in the right direction. See, I'm wired for success. That's what you guys got to do. You got to reprogram yourself, snatch out some of that old wiring and say to yourself, you know what, let me rewire myself for success. Right now, I'm wired that every dollar I make has to come from labor, whereas wealthy people are wired that every dollar they make comes from money. See, you're wired to go get wage income, whereas wealthy people are wired to get non-wage income. Here's a quotable for you. Never brag on how much money you make working. Get excited, never brag, period, but get excited when you tally up how much money you make not working. That's when you become wired for success. How many residuals do I have coming in? How much money do I have coming in on a Schedule K? Is there a wave of abundance coming my way from different things I put in place where assets are starting to bring me my wealth and not work? So you got to have a wave, not just a puddle, not just a pond, not just a stream. I want you to have a wave of wealth coming your way. And I tell y'all right now, it all begins with write-offs. Now, if you don't think I'm catching these W's y'all throwing, then you're not paying attention. So if you don't believe me, then you just dead wrong. But you got to have a wave of wealth that's coming in. And this all comes from me hanging around people a lot wealthier than myself. And I just start watching the moves they make. I'm just watching. I'm like, okay, what is this person doing? Or every time I turn around, they're buying an asset. They're buying real estate. So it's worth my while to learn a little bit about real estate. So that's when I went and bought the 20 acres. I bought Beane acres. I got the pond. Are you kidding me? Y'all still not registered for the Instincts PONDCast? POND cast? Go to your local Apple or YouTube channel, Spotify. Go download the Instincts PONDCast. Because I started realizing, wait, wealthy people have land. So I went out and bought 20 acres of land. Then I put assets on the land that's going to bring me more wealth. I kept watching people. Wealthy people don't overpay taxes. And I watch people who struggle and they get a tax refund. Why? Because they get their money at the beginning of the next year, instead of getting their money up front and using it all year. So if they were getting their money up front while they were working, they could be paying off the debt they've amassed But the reason they're in debt is because they get a tax refund, then they file rapid refund and get a fee or a penalty on the money because they need it so drastically. That's just not wise. So I watch. And every wealthy friend I have, I said, whoa. You're doing the exact opposite of what I'm doing. So if I want the results that you have, maybe I need to do what you do. Let me start making my money with assets, because assets pay a different tax bracket, right? Capital gains, Schedule K. Whoa. You mean to tell me you don't go out and buy things that you can't afford? You have the ability to separate your wants from your needs, which is why you're wealthy, because you can wait and say, wait a minute, I want a Lamborghini, I want a Maserati, I want a Ferrari, but I don't need it right now. Y'all think I can't go out and afford a brand new Bentley? You think I can't go out and afford a Lamborghini? Of course I can, but my son does not have $10 million in his trust fund yet. So why would I go out and buy something that's not appreciating when my son doesn't have a trust fund with 8 figures in it just yet? Until I have that, I'm not ready to make that kind of withdrawal. That would just be weird. It would feel weird to me to withdraw from an account to get a liability that's depreciating when my son is not set up yet to be a deca millionaire. That just feels weird to me. So why would I withdraw from my assets to go buy a liability? Whew, just doesn't make sense. It's a whack decision. Wealthy people just move differently. So the more I watched their moves and their mistakes, the more I said, if I want to be what they are, I got to separate my wants from my needs. And after a while, you won't even find it difficult to do. You'll be like, wow, that was easy. So I started investing wholesale instead of retail. What's retail investing? Retail is an involuntary investment that you make when you put your money in the bank. So now you can whip out your ATM card they gave you because you got a checking account or savings account. And then just because they confused you with all the words they were telling you about interest rates and CDs and money market accounts, you now get a debit card that you can whip out. And they're going to give you a credit card that you can whip out at the same time. And they're going to also whip you with high interest on that credit card. So when you whipping out your credit card, they whipping you with interest. So I decided, you know what? Let me make wholesale investments. What's a wholesale investment? Since we're on our W's, a wholesale investment is where you put your money where the banks put your money. So if the bank is giving you 1%, they got to be getting 8%. Think about it. If the bank is giving you 1% sight unseen, all you did was give them your driver's license and the social security number and told them to run it. If they're giving you 1% sight unseen, they got to be putting your money somewhere getting more than 1%. Why don't we use our wisdom, knowledge, and understanding to figure out where the wholesale investments are? So you got to start investing wholesale. See, when you go to Sam's Club, and when you go to BJ's, and when you go to Costco's, you understand wholesale. So if I get something wholesale, I'm getting way more than I bargained for, even if I don't use it all right now. But you waive your right to do that when you go to a consumer bank and tell them to hold your money. You've waived your right to invest wholesale. You got to get your wholesale money or investments from a brokerage firm. Why is that? Because a brokerage company holds your money a little longer, so they're going to give you a higher rate of return, and that number is usually more than inflation. So while you got your money in the bank, you're actually losing money when you could be investing wholesale, and now you don't have to fight or wrestle with inflation. See, I was done wrestling, fighting everybody. I had to get everybody up off me. Everybody want my dollar. The banks want my dollar. The government want my dollar. Sony want my dollar. Walmart want my dollar. The clothes, Macy's want my dollar. Louis Vuitton want my dollar. Gucci want my dollar. The gas station want my dollar. I had to wrestle my way out of that situation. So what I did was I put a wall up and said, no more, no more. And you know what? When I made that decision, since then, I've done well. Not the wealthiest person in the world, not even close. But I'm wealthy enough by my standards to do what I want to do, when I want to do it. That includes whether or not I want to fly to Wisconsin after I leave this zone and this live.